Welcome to Geraldine's Super Secret Author Vlog. I mentioned in my video about when I wore medieval clothes in public for 2 months. I mentioned there how I started LARPing in 2016. And actually at that time, I thought I was going to be starting my vlog back then. So I did record a video of my first reactions from trying LARPing for the first time. And I'm bringing that to you now. It's a little late, but this is from back then and I hope you enjoy it.
Sometimes you must face and be willing to do the ultimate sacrifice and give up yourself to feed the beast so that others may be safe. Are you willing to do this if it comes to you?
Yes.
That is what it is to be out. Sometimes for punishment they bring to us those who are not willing. Are you willing to hold the knife and put it to someone who is not willing to be sacrificed so that others may live?
Yes.
That is what it is to be out. You kneel, Bay of Acacia, you rise, brother out, rise.
Hey everybody! So this is my after LARP report. It's been 5 days since I've gotten back, and I only now finally on Friday, the weekend after the event, am starting to feel normal again. It's taken me that long to adjust back to real life, and apparently that's somewhat normal. From what I can tell from everybody communicating on the Slack app, sounds like it takes several days to recover because the experience is just so intense and it really feels like you've traveled to a completely different world, like Claire and Outlander getting sucked into ancient Scotland. It's really like that. Feels like that. Like you're just totally somewhere different. And it was my first event, so I had the whole stage fright thing. I'd never even volunteered at any of these, so I had no idea what to expect. I was just going into it as a player character. And so I had to really work on my nerves. And even while I was there, almost the entire weekend, the stage fright kept going because I was so nervous not to get killed. But I was told never to walk alone anywhere and to, in the battles, stay in the back and help heal people since I was a healer and not to get myself killed. So I was very careful to do all that, and I fortunately didn't get killed. Not only that, I only finished the game with one hit on my armor, so that I actually did pretty well. I was kind of nervous though, especially when several of the battles got really, really big and really intense, and there was like small skirmishes throughout the time, but there were a few times when it was like a big climax type battle, and they were scary and loud and confusing and chaotic. And with the first almost all of them, I kind of just stayed in the back because it was scary and I wasn't very confident. But the last really big battle, which was Sunday late morning, I had run out of healing spells and all I had left were defensive spells for battle. So I basically was forced to actually jump in and fight, and by then I had some confidence. So I did jump in. I was in the third line. We had the fighters in the first 2 lines, and then the spellcasters and the archers in the third line. So I was pretty close to the action right there. And I actually participated in the battle, and I was throwing my spells, and I actually was able to disarm and shatter some shields and things like that. And it made the game 100% more fun to be able to actually fight in a battle and then have that victory feeling and have it go on. We like pushed them forward and then they would push us back, and we didn't know what was going to happen, and it was just pretty exciting, I must say. So the battling is a huge part of the fun. I did notice my first 24 hours in the game, from about Friday evening to Saturday evening, it was really rough because I am not in shape at all, and we had to do all this walking everywhere to do anything. And you know, when you first start exercising and you're not in shape, how miserable it kind of is, you know what I mean? It's not much fun because you're pushing yourself so hard and you just want to stop and go lie on a beach somewhere. I kind of had that feeling. I was like, what am I doing here? I should be lying on a tropical island beach and just relaxing, you know, this is exhausting, this is a lot of work. You know, just walking around and doing the different quests and tasks and stuff just felt like I was pushing my body harder than it's used to. So the first 24 hours I was kind of like, I wasn't sure I liked it. Plus I was too scared to fight in the battles. But by the second 24 hours, I started to get more confident. I started participating more. I just started feeling more comfortable with it and more used to the culture. And so then the game just got so much more fun. Plus I was getting to know my clan members better. And so it ended up being way more fun. And by the time Sunday came, around 1 when it ended, I didn't want it to end. I finally felt like I was in the groove and I wanted to keep going a couple more days. So I was really disappointed when it ended at that point. But the interesting thing with LARPing versus the SCA is the SCA focuses on the gentler and more entertaining and instructive arts of the Middle Ages, and I'm talking about learning to construct and make things and do arts and sciences the real medieval way, and doing medieval dancing and medieval feasting and all these fun things. And they do have battles and tournaments, but you go to the battles and tournaments. You don't have them suddenly spring upon you at any moment. So it's much more relaxing in that sense, because you're there mainly to enjoy the medieval enjoyments or the medieval entertainments and things like that. So we're talking music and dancing and arts and crafts and, you know, horse activities and different things like that. And if you want the adventure of battle, you can become a fighter and you can go do that. But if you don't want it, you don't, you know. So it's relaxing in that sense. But sometimes in comparison, it could be a little boring if you're not involved in something. In the SCA, you have to choose what you're going to do and you have to jump in full feet and just get involved. With the LARPing, it's more focused on survival. It kind of felt like a weird medieval survival weekend for me, sort of like Naked and Afraid, only I was clothed and afraid in the Middle Age, you know, in the kind of in the Lord of the Rings world or something in Middle Earth. I really ate hardly anything because of my nervous stomach, and you never knew when something was going to happen, when a horde of undead would come out and attack the tavern, or if a quest was given to us and we had to run right then to go do it. You know, or a nightmare creature would come out in the middle of the night when you're just trying to walk back to your cabin. You know, you have to always be ready for action, and you have to try to survive. And so it's more intense. It's not a place to sit down and just relax. Although you could create a character that mainly hung out in the tavern and was a minstrel if you wanted to, and you just have to know how to get out of the way if danger comes, you know. So it's possible to do something like that if you wanted, but I don't think I will be bringing my spinning wheel or doing anything like that because I have to fight for my life at any second. So that was a huge difference between the two. Also, I'm getting over a hip injury, so I didn't know how I would do, especially not being in shape, and this is why I'm not in shape and I'm trying to get back in shape. But I walked over 18,000 steps on Saturday, and it wasn't until about 11 o'clock at night my hip said it was done and it had to quit. And it was too bad because the great epic adventure of my clan began right about that time. But I wasn't able to participate, and I found out later all this incredible stuff they did, and I wished I had been with them. But at the same time, I didn't want to, you know, ruin my hip or be in pain for the next 2 weeks. So I had to stop. Most nights we stayed up actually till 3 a.m. Actually, both nights we stayed up till at least 3 a.m., which I didn't even realize I could push myself that far, but I did somehow. We had a fire both nights. It was great. So on the second night, while my rest of my clan members went and did the epic adventure, one of the clan members kept me safe and escorted me back to camp, and he was wanting to do a fire so that we built a fire together with some help because it had been raining. But we wanted to have a nice fire for our clan to return to, you know, and people came and went and hung out about the fire a little bit, but it was really nice. Just it was really nice that everybody looks out for each other, and at any given moment someone would offer to protect me, you know, because I was a new player, didn't know what I was doing, didn't have any weapons, you know, that sort of thing. So it was really nice to just hang out about the fire and just enjoy the evening. And yes, we were attacked about 2:30 in the morning even then, but we survived somehow. And I wanted to do LARPing to help me get in shape, and boy, is it going to help me way more than I even realized. Because not only were we walking everywhere and doing combat and stuff like that, and not getting hardly any sleep, we were basically so overstimulated. We were up till 3 every night, got up at about 8 in the morning or 9, And then we're walking constantly, doing battles. Every once in a while I'd get a 10-minute break in the tavern and I would take a quick nap or something like that just to get me through. But you know, we weren't going on caffeine or coffee or anything like that. We were just drinking water and soda. But not only do you have all the walking and the combat and getting hardly any sleep, but I wasn't hardly eating anything and I wasn't even hungry because I was so overstimulated. So I just ate and drank enough to get by. And the whole experience completely reset my whole body. Whereas before the LARP, I had gotten used to sleeping a lot and being inactive in my job. It was a desk job, and eating a lot. I loved going out to eat and having rich foods and sweets all the time. Well, this weekend I didn't have sweets at all. In fact, I only had a teeny bit of sugar in a small bit of coffee one morning, and I didn't even notice, and I can't believe it because I have such a sweet tooth. I didn't even notice that I didn't have desserts or sweets all weekend long. And they did have like some cupcakes and stuff, but I was too busy to, you know, do that. So, and I wasn't hungry enough. So I found it interesting that I went an entire weekend without craving dessert or sweets or chocolate, which is so unlike me. It's like the opposite. So I come back from it and I find that I'm having trouble sleeping these last several days because I'm wired. I was tired enough to go to bed at 8 or 9, but then I wake up at 2 wired and ready to jump up and have adventures. And so it's funny, my body wants less sleep, continues to want less food, so I'm eating only 1 to 2 small meals a day, and wants to move more. I've noticed my body every day wants to get out there and move because that's what I did all weekend. So I'm trying hiking and bike riding and, you know, trying to make sure I get up and move around and I don't just sit at my desk all day long. So it really feels like a complete reset. And plus they have dance practice twice a month, which was so much fun. And they have fighters practice every week. So there's things I can do with my new LARP friends and keep in shape. So this is a really interesting and intense way to get in shape, and I do believe if I keep this up, I am going to be losing weight, especially since they have an event once a month. Big difference between this and SCA is in the SCA, it takes a while to get to know people. You have to really jump in with both feet, and you have to be there like at all their fighter practice, and even then, it might take a month or so to really get to know them and to feel like part of the group, because you're doing the gentler arts and stuff like that. But here, well, unless you were, I bet if you became a fighter in the SCA, it'd be more like the LARPing. But in the LARP, we were all thrown together in this crazy adventure that lasted all weekend. We were up till 3 and doing quests all day and battling together. And even though we were playing characters, we still, it was like an instant bonding with our entire clan. And so I felt even after just one weekend that I feel close to them already, like I'm part of this group and it's fun to hang out with them. And I went to dance practice and got to goof off and do medieval dancing, which was great. And they do fighter practice and I just want to see them again because they're so much fun and I'm getting to know who they really are as opposed to their characters. And it's a bunch of goofy people of all walks of life and all ages, and it's just, they're great. I just love how just one weekend and an instant friends. Now, if you've been watching LARPing videos, I did get permission to do some filming and picture taking while I was there, and I had my phone hidden in a leather bookcase. But when you're LARPing, you can either film or you can play. And of course, I was there to play. So this is why it's really hard for vloggers to get any real good footage, because if there's a great battle, we want to be in it, you know. So I did get just a little bit of film and several pictures just to give you an idea, but you really just have to be there to experience it. You can't really watch a video and get an idea because it's so intense and so unusual and so incredible. You have to just go, just try it out, you know. It's worth it. It is so much fun. Your life will change. You'll have to figure out how to survive and you'll be whipped into shape, and it'll be like the most interesting experience you've ever had. And you don't have to be completely in shape to do it either. There are some people there who had more gentler characters who hung out in the tavern. They were merchants or something like that. So it's not like you have to be fit, and you don't have to be young. There were all ages there. You can make it work for you, whatever, you know, whatever class or role or character you choose to do, you can make it work for you. But if you want to be pushed and to get in shape, this is probably the most fun way I've ever tried. Give it a shot. One more thing I want to add. Before the LARP, I kind of felt like a slug, you know. I'd gotten into a rut of just doing my desk job. I hadn't been able to exercise because of my hip injury, and so I just sat around all the time and watched TV, and it was like a sluggish kind of place to be. I didn't care for it. I often didn't have energy and things like that. And now that I've had my reset, I feel completely different. The whole weekend made me feel so alive because you have all these adventures and emotions, and you're stimulated and your adrenaline's going and you're making friends and you're running around trying to survive and you get caught up in the story and you're playing your character and there's just so much going on. It like totally like shot me with the jolt, some sort of big jolt of stimulation and energy, and now afterwards I just feel so alive and I want to move and I want to be out there and I don't want to eat and I don't want to sit around, and you know, it's just a totally different feeling. If you want to feel really alive, you do something like this and you push yourself, and if you do it with LARPing, you'll put yourself in a really fun place to feel alive and make new friends and do things you've never done before, like fight in battles and learn to cast magic spells or do archery or whatever. Welcome to my vlog and all of my crazy adventures. Okay, so another funny thing about LARPing. You know how your imagination is like so powerful? So you might be LARPing and you might just be in a Girl Scout cabin, for instance, but the guide has just told you that you've entered this ancient dwarven crypt, you know, and it's like decorated a little bit, so there's some treasures here and there, but your imagination really gets involved and pretty soon you forget you're actually in a Girl Scout cabin and it feels like you're really in this dwarven crypt. So when it comes to LARPing, you can't just watch people LARPing because it kind of looks stupid, right? It just looks like a bunch of grown-ups in costumes. The battles don't look like much. The cabin might just look like a Girl Scout cabin. It's not the same thing as actually being there and being in the middle of it and being in the middle of the story and the quest and experiencing it and hearing the description that you are in the Dwarven Crypt, you know, and then your imagination kind of makes it more real, or like in the battle. Sure, their costume might not be perfect, but to you, that is an undead, or that is a giant rat, or whatever it is, and you get so caught up in it, it feels very real. But someone were watching it, they'd be like, yeah, whatever, you know? So again, LARPing's not something you can just hear someone talk about or look at videos. You gotta go and just do it. So that's another tricky thing about trying to show LARP on videos. It just might look dumb, but when you're in the middle of it, it's amazing. So anyway, I only got a little bit of footage from that first LARP, so I'll be sharing it with you.
Of course, the Ron are the people beings that live here.